That now. And then at least it's set up. Okay, and then we got Glenda joining in here. Welcome, Glenda. Danielle, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm great.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you signed up for today too. I saw your name and I was like, yes, so
I'm
good.
happy to be here. Do you want our cameras on or off? I wasn't sure.
I would love your cameras on. I'll
Good.
uh,
I'll
I'll
be
let
brave.
people know. You can totally be brave. It's way more fun seeing your faces than looking at little black boxes with people's names anyways.
Yeah. Then you don't feel like a fishbowl, maybe a little bit.
Right? Like I'm actually talking to people, to humans, and not just this little black hole. How are you? How are things going?
Good, thanks. The crazy days of managing the kiddos and work and, which I'm sure many on the call are also juggling, but going well.
Good.
Surviving.
Yeah. I am excited for spring. This is like we got a ton of rain up here and it just has made all of the snow kind of disappear within 24 hours. And it's been promising. It's been nice to see.
I know. It feels a little warmer out too, which is really nice. I
Yeah.
think towards the end of the week, it's supposed to feel pretty good. My daughter was saying like 24 or something like that.
Oh my
Fingers crossed.
gosh.
I hope that's true.
Wow, that would be nice. Yeah, Emily is very excited about wearing shorts for some reason. She just can't wait and is counting down the days every time she looks at the weather and she's like, "Is today a shorts day weather?" Like, okay, not yet. Like, we're getting close.
They're excited. They're excited. But I feel it. I feel the same. It will be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I feel the same too. It's been a long winter, so I think we're all ready for a little change in season.
Agree.
Well, we will give it a few more minutes as people kind of pop in. You are my eager beavers that are early slash on time is how I like to say it. Actually, as people start coming in, do you guys want to type in the chat just where you're based out of or where you're logging in from? All right, Michelle, here in Toronto. Okay, we're starting to see some trends. Okay, love it. And I'm going to ask this question too as more people start coming in. But think about one word that describes how you feel working in HR. No judgment. You don't have to overthink it. Just like a word that comes to mind, and feel free to type it in the chat. Might depend on the day, might be depend on what's in your world right now, what's going on. One word to describe how you feel in this moment with the work that you do in HR. It's a good one, Danielle. Conflicted.
Could be contentious, but I think it's such a hard balance sometimes for HR, as I'm sure we all feel on the call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you can expand on the conflicted stuff between the two
Yeah,
worlds?
I think sometimes it's challenging to best navigate at least what I'm calling these days, um, operational performance, operational excellence for the business, but also care for people in an empathetic lens and doing, quote unquote, the right thing or the best practice. So sometimes navigating the gray in there can be challenging. And the whole, also there's a lot of philosophy or approach around like the whole nice versus kind perspective in feedback. And so a couple of those things are what's on my mind these days.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I get that the like pull between two worlds of I want to be able to support the organization and I can see how this is having an impact with other people that I'm working with and how do I divide my attention or support in the right way to to feel good about the work that I do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Looks like Michelle is also aligned with that too.
It's hard to put it into one word, and I was really struggling. So it's I'll just go with what Danielle said. I'm copying.
You're also conflicted. That's fair. I think that's a very common space in the world of HR because we're like balancing two different worlds. So that makes a whole lot of sense. And questioning like, and how do I feel about all of this? Like what am I dealing with? Which is so cool. And we'll jump into some of that today as well.
I think a lot of it for me, anyways. I've been in HR for almost 3 decades now, so I've seen a lot of change. And sometimes it can be very difficult just to what's the word? Stay on top of things because they're changing so rapidly.
Yes. Yeah. Trying to keep up with it all is super challenging. Okay, I'm just getting a note here. It looks like everyone's kind of having the same sort of issues with Zoom. So I'm just gonna log in here for a sec. And you say there seems to be an error with the names of people joining under my name from signups. If you can rename to the correct name, that would be amazing. Okay, so that's for everyone who's chiming in right here. Um, everyone's gonna be called Kaylee. Apparently, it's a very popular name. I wondered why I was seeing so many Kayleys. I was like, what is happening right now? But that makes a whole lot of sense. So, yeah, if you want to go ahead and rename your Zoom name so that we can see who you are, that would be amazing. And we will get started in a couple minutes as people trickle in. One of the questions that I had was share with the group, like where you're based out of, where you're calling in from, and what is one word that would describe how you feel about working in HR right now. So anything that comes to mind, no judgment, whatever that comes up for, whatever word that comes up to you that reflects how you feel now, type it in the chat. I'd love to see where you're at with this. And those of you that are jumping in, I would also love it if you could turn your camera on. I know you're probably trying to rename yourself, so I get the technology stuff, but if you can also throw your camera on, I would love to see all of your faces and connect with you all. Okay, so where are you based out of? What's one word that would describe how you feel right now as it relates to HR? Sam, good to see you. It's been a while. Okay, Robin from New Brunswick, welcome. One word I'd use to describe how I feel about HR is chaotic. Okay, fair. Do you want to say more about that, Robin?
Oh, I just feel there's so much operational things coming at us that it's hard to keep on top of all the operational things, let alone working on the strategic HR, initiatives that we want to move the organization forward. So there's so much. And then there's technology change on top of that and learning AI and so you're learning and operating and being strategic all at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I hear that, right? Like it's hard to stay on top of everything
Mhm.
with all of the moving pieces and how quickly things are moving. And I'm seeing a little bit of a trend here. Sam, your word's reactive, and Danielle, it's about change for you. BB from Milton, the one word is dynamic, which is a great word. So we're all in very similar spaces of trying to just keep up with a lot of the things that are happening while staying true to the things that are really important to how we serve others. So as you're thinking about yourself, if you want to go ahead and type in the chat where you're from, we'd love to see that. We will get started and I will kick off. I know there's been a couple people that have logged in and need to just update your names because you'll be under Kaylee. So just reminding you about that and we will kick us off. Okay, so let me go back here. Where did you go? Okay, just want to get my right slides up here for you. Okay, so welcome. I'm so happy to have you all here and excited to see all of your faces. This is something that I have been really excited to do in the last few weeks, and I knew that there was something in here that would help support women in HR shift from stop feeling like you're in reaction mode and start leading and owning that leadership. And so today I am so excited to talk to you a little bit more about personally my own experiences on things that have really shifted the dial, moved the needle, and I've incorporated into my own practices that I know you're going to find super valuable as takeaways that you can then implement and put into practice for yourself. Today, we're going to talk about your nervous system. Really important. We are going to talk about the GROW coaching model and from the perspective of what does that even look like, but also how do you apply that in our world being in human resources. And then the last thing that I want to really spend some time with at the end of our call is talking to you and introducing with you a little bit more about my exciting group coaching program that I can't wait to tell you about. I also have a special promotion just for you on this call. So stick around until the end because this is one that you're going to want to pay attention to. Okay. Little background on who I am because I know not all of you have met me. Let's click here. So my name is Natasha Skolny. I am the founder of the Leadership Cabin. I am a leadership coach. I have over 20 years of HR and learning and development experience working with complex people challenges, organizational change, and doing it in a high pressure environment. Things move fast in construction, in tech, in any of those industries where we are being asked to keep up with the pace. And I have worked with over 400 professionals in a coaching capacity that would help them lead from uncertainty, unawareness to clarity, and having a bigger impact with how they lead and who they are as a leader. I also call myself an expert in influencing without authority because I know it's difficult to sometimes do that when you don't have a team underneath you. And I have figured out ways that really help equip us with being able to do that more. I've been able to navigate through ambiguity because I've dealt with a lot of change through the organizations that I've worked with. I have dealt with acquisitions. I have dealt with leading organizational change training. And I have helped through the process of massive layoffs. And I mean, we can all remember the times where we were going and experiencing things like COVID or things like AI and how that's influencing and having an impact on the company that we're working with and how to best support our employees along the way. I'm a facilitator for transformational team experiences. And what that means is I work with teams to help shift their culture and how they work together. It's not just about changing how they're acting in that moment, it's making a real shift in how they show up for each other. All of this to say, I get the whole piece around how stretched we feel being in HR. I understand being pulled into 1,000 meetings, being overscheduled, being reactive to all of the requests and things that come onto our plate. I also am a mom of two, so as a parent, I get stretched in a lot of different directions at home as well. I have led a team, so I understand what it's like when you're trying to lead other leaders and lead your team and be a parent and feel like your hands are everywhere. I went through this experience facilitating leadership training across organizations because I knew the things that I was helping them work through were having a real impact. But where I saw the disconnect for myself was I wasn't doing the work. I was looking at things that were important to me, that were values of mine. I kept talking about how integrity was an important piece, that I felt really good. I would follow through with all the things that I would do for other people. Where I was falling short is I wasn't following through with the things that meant something to me. So I was putting myself at the bottom of the totem pole. I was feeling exhausted. I was getting resentful, and I was in this place of reacting to everything that was coming onto my desk. And my relationships were being impacted, and I was in this place of wondering, okay, something has to change. What do I need to do here? I can't live like this anymore. And so I was tired of it. But what I discovered about myself, one, was that putting myself as a priority needed to get shifted around. But I learned more about my nervous system. I also went through my own training to get certified as a coach. And I started putting into practice some of those coaching practices in my day-to-day life. And I started experiencing all of the things that I was telling people to do to understand, wow, these things are really challenging. I can see where these obstacles are coming up. I can understand why this is becoming a real tension for anyone that I'm talking about. And it not only shifted what I share with people about my experiences in my facilitation, but it helped connect the dots because I had the experiences. And so the influence shifted from me just telling people, these are the things that I know are going to help you be successful, to here are the things that I've done. Here's what's changed. Here's what I can do and tell you as some of the obstacles I've experienced. And suddenly that connection has shifted everything for me. So today I'm going to walk you through the pieces that are going to shift how you look at your own personal nervous system in this space and how to take the concepts of the Grow coaching model, apply it to yourself so you can start embodying this and come out and have an even bigger influence with the people that you're working with. My goal, my mission is to work with women in HR who want to move from reacting less to influencing more in the organization while still feeling like themselves. How's that sound? Good? You ready to go? Okay. Let's talk about our nervous system. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, and I'll give you a little bit of context on how this became so important to the work that I'm doing, but how it like really connected the dots for me. It was about 3 years ago when I was introduced to cold plunging. And I don't know how many of you, hands up, have done or experienced cold plunging before. Okay. It is literally terrifying, or it was terrifying for me. And I remember at the time, my friend who had convinced me, because one of my values is adventure, trying new things. She said, Tash, come, let's go and cold plunge and we'll watch the sunrise and it'll be this beautiful experience. And I thought, yeah, this sounds like I can do it. Sure. So what happened was I showed up. I was in Toronto. It was a beautiful Toronto sunrise when I arrived at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And we learned how to support ourselves through breath work to slow down the pace of our breathing and to calm our nervous system. And what happens is when we're nervous or we're working through something and we're under stress or pressure, our breath starts to get shorter and we start to breathe at the top up here and we can go into more of a reactive mode. I mean, it's a survival thing. It's like we were being chased by a big tiger, and now our body is essentially going, hey, whether it's an email from someone that bothers me or I'm actually in danger, I don't know the
Hey,
difference. I'm going to say the
wow.
same.
What's wrong with
Oh,
your, oh, you have to open it?
oh, sorry. I have someone who's not on mute.
Sometimes when you shut your laptop, that happens.
I can't see it. Kaylee, do you know who it is?
Yes, it's Victoria.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful. But the point is, we don't know the difference, right? Whether we're being attacked by a bear or something that is going to like really be awful for our own survival, or it's something that triggered us during the day, our brain reacts in the same way. So when I was trying this cold plunging experience and I was learning how to support myself through breath work, you can imagine the moment that I am standing there at the edge of the tub. Now I'm doing this with a trained facilitator. There's no way that I would do this on my own, especially at the beginning. And she is teaching me how to put my hand on my heart, other hand on my chest, and to take 3 inhales in and to exhale out. And on my exhale out, she says, I want you to step into the tub. And this tub does not look appealing. It is a tub filled with like all these ice pellets in it. It looks really scary. And she said, we are going to sit in this tub for 2 minutes. You are going to fully submerge up to your neck, and I am here for you. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So I follow her instructions. I take a big inhale in, I take an exhale out as I step into the tub and exhale, and I submerge myself down to my neck. What happens is my body goes, get me the hell out of here. What are you doing to yourself? And so everything inside of me is like, fight, flight. You aren't supposed to be in this situation. You need to escape. Get yourself out of here. And then she teaches me to just continue breathing and focus on exhaling. And so I follow her guidance and I trust her, and she tells me I'm safe. And what happens is I get to this very calm place where suddenly everything felt really scary, feels calm and supported. And so it was this shift of, wait a minute, I went from a really scary experience to completely supporting my nervous system just through breath work. So fast forward over the years, and this has been a practice of mine that I have incorporated into my day-to-day world, where I look for opportunities to slow down my breath. Because our nervous system, when it's cranked up, our heart rate goes up, our body starts reacting in a way where we start sweating or we get nervous, and our voice can sometimes shake. And if you're noticing these things about yourself before you're going into a meeting or before you're having a big conversation with leaders who are more senior than you, These are great tools that we all have at our fingertips because it's so easy, but we're not doing them. And the reason we're not doing them is because it feels counterintuitive. I have so much that I need to accomplish in a day. Why would I slow down in order to move forward? All of the leadership programming that I have done over the past 5 years with senior level leaders went through this realization, went through halfway through the program. These are year-long programs. Halfway through the program, they realized I actually need to step back in order to see further ahead. And so, for anyone that's thinking about, I need to be a better strategic thinker, or I need to think more big picture, or I get sucked into the transactional work and executing on all of the things on my to-do list, this is a practice that's going to help stretch you there to see the things that are more clearly important to you versus getting sucked into the day-to-day things. So, my challenge for all of you is to start practicing a little bit of breath work. And what that looks like is one of the easiest ones to grab onto is called 4-box breathing. Any of you heard about 4-box breathing before? Yeah. So this is a very simple practice that I do in my facilitated sessions with leaders too. Because what happens is it allows you to take an inhale in, hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. And when you do that 4 times over, suddenly you feel safe again. And when you feel safe, you feel like you can contribute, you can participate, you can feel like yourself, and things open up as to where to focus your attention. This is a practice that Navy SEALs do because they're under high pressure all the time. So if there's anything that we can learn from people who are in extreme situations, it's we can incorporate this into our daily practice. So supporting our nervous system, noticing when we are getting triggered by moments throughout the day where we're feeling like we're overworked or overwhelmed or there's a lot going on. Tap into your nervous system and support yourself through breath work as an opportunity to really slow things down. The other piece that I want to share with you is a little bit about the coaching model. So if you think about ourselves as we've supported our nervous system, we are recognizing when things are intensified, and when we know what these are, we can start to make choices on how we're going to show up. So the first part is supporting our nervous system. And then the second piece I want to teach you about is the GROW coaching model. This is a coaching model that is so well known across the industry, and it's very easy for leaders to conceptualize or to process because it gives you a really easy framework on how to follow your conversations and how to direct the flow of where things are going. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown of this. It stands for G as goal. Okay, so what is the real objective of the conversation? How are you? What's the point? Like, why are you here? R is about reality. So what is happening right now? And what are the circumstances? And I'll talk to you about what that looks like when we dig in. O is about options. Now that everything is on the table, let's talk about what options we have in order to explore solutions. And W is about a way forward. Now, if you think about your role in HR, where do we naturally jump in and go straight to the point in our GROW model? Where do you think most of us, when we're getting questions from our leaders, jump to? Yeah, way forward. I hear all of these ideas. I hear what's going on. Okay, let's talk about how we're going to move things forward. Let's talk about a solution. We have been trained to be advice givers, to find solutions, to support them in a way where we are feeling like we're value add. And the Grow coaching model, what it does is it helps us focus on saying more, telling more, and asking more questions. The thing is, your advice is not as good as you might think it is. And so while it is a really great way to justify your worth because you are giving something tangible back to your leaders, it also misses a whole lot more of the conversation. If we don't go into the goal and we don't understand really what's going on and we don't ask questions that are going to unpack exactly what the situation is, then we skip over and we are just band-aid solutioning things that we think are the real problems when they're not. So this Grow coaching model is something that you can lean into that will help to support how you have these conversations. So let me break it down for you. I decided to put in real situations of questions that I get from leaders because this is really helpful when I'm looking at what happens when a leader calls you and they ask if you have a training course or resources you recommend for aspiring leaders. This is a very common question that we get. And so there's two options. The first one is I have so much on the go right now, so I'm just going to say, yes, of course I have these resources. Here are the ones that I have for new managers. Here are the courses that we offer internally. Okay, checkbox, move on. That leader goes off on their merry way. The other option is yes, and I would love to better understand more about your aspiring leaders and what you are noticing. There's a difference here. There's a shift. Do you have availability to chat this week? I love putting it out there to have the conversation so I can better understand what is truly going on. The quick answer, yes, it will get it off your plate. What you will discover through digging in further around what's going on is context. And the context is the piece that's going to help you find a solution together that's going to truly solve the root cause of the problem. Here's another example. My leader has just moved into a new position and his scope of work has shifted. I need them to be a better leader of other leaders. Can you help me find a coach? I get this all the time. There's this appetite for executive coaches that I adore. And it's very easy to go, yes, here are the coaches that we've worked with in the past that are really strong in this space. Here are the names of them. So you can reach out to them, or I can reach out to them for you. Where we can move the needle is yes, and I want to match this person up to this leader. So I need to understand more about specifically what you would like to see them do more of. And the reason why these questions are important is because when we're digging into what's really going on, we are helping the leader connect back what they're seeing in their employee or in their leader so that they can get really granular and clear about what the expectation is. I don't know if any of you have found this before, but in my experience, we find generic ways of putting labels on words that are just words. I personally could cringe the next time that someone says, I want to be a better strategic leader. Like, what does that mean? We are not getting to the level of helping people describe what is the behavior, what is the thing that you want to see them do more of. What does that actually look like? If you were to see it in practice, what would it show you? And so the more that we can encourage conversations that get more granular on the specific behavior will help not only that leader understand what success looks like, but help that employee who's trying to demonstrate that and see if whether any of this is a success. Of course, I could say, here's a coach that I found that I've had great success with. But is that going to help me understand where the real gap is for that person? Is that going to help me support that leader and what they're working towards? No. So context matters, context, and it also allows you to get into the space of what that leader is going through that is going to help you continue to support them and give more solutions together as you continue your evolution. Yeah, absolutely, Wendy. It's taking more of a consultative approach. Okay. So I want to break this down even further for you because some of the questions that would go through my mind would be, okay, that's great, but what are the questions that I ask when I'm looking at identifying what the goal is? So these are the ones that I came up with, the ones that I typically lean into. What do you want to make sure we accomplish in our conversation? What would be most helpful to you? What is the most important thing about this? And I always love to say, what else? Because the first thing that they share is never the most important thing. Digging in and giving them space and re-asking those questions are going to help you get really granular. And if it becomes difficult to follow and there are a lot of moving pieces, bring it back with, this is a really big topic. What piece of that would you like to tackle in this specific conversation? Sometimes they can tell you about the world, everything that's going wrong, or all of these moving pieces. And it is a really easy way to be able to say, how are we going to zone in on the conversation so we can make sure that we focus on what you need to achieve here. The second piece, and when we're getting into reality and gathering context, is around tell me more about what's been happening. Get them to share a little bit more about what the experience is, what they're seeing, what they're noticing, asking them, what have you already tried? What were the results from any of this? What's your sense of obstacles for you, for others involved? Is it even realistic to have this expectation? Can you say more about what you want to see versus what you see right now? And what have you personally observed? I love this question because it gets them to really reflect on what success looks like. What does this look like right now? You want to make sure more of your people are aligned, are connected, are driving, are more accountable. What does that even mean? What does that look like as a behavior? What are you seeing right now happen? And what is it that you want to see instead? And then as you're noticing things and you're paying attention to things, then you can start to give your observation. Do you mind if I share something that I've noticed? I had a conversation with a leader not long ago, actually, and she had said to me, I have an employee who is really struggling right now, and they want to move up in their career. They want to move into that next level, get promoted. And here's all of the things that I've tried doing with them. I've given them support when they've struggled with this project over here. I've helped them and given them tools that's going to allow them to do that. And she was giving me all of these great intentions of things that she had experienced. And when she took a pause, I said, would you mind if I shared an observation? And she said, yes. And I said, I can see how much you want this for them. What I'm not seeing is how badly they want it. Have you had a conversation with your employee about their own motivation, about what's important to them? And she went, actually, I haven't. I've just been making a lot of assumptions. And I don't know why they want to be promoted. And so what she was doing was giving them all of the answers, giving them all of the solutions, and not asking the questions. And so I share this because the more that we can ask these questions to our leaders, the more we're also training our leaders to have these questions with their employees. And it has this ripple effect without taking on the responsibilities of having to solution things and have the answers and move things forward. But we're teaching how to get curious, how to get more context around what's going on and slow things down. And we are in a world where the pace is so fast and change is happening so quickly around us that as HR professionals, we need to be the leaders of helping them see what happens when we slow things down. So I'm going to move into options, because options, I love exploring this with them. If you could do anything, what might you do? If there was any solution possible, what might that be? If you were an employee, what would you have or hear or see in order to get your attention? Have them put themselves in someone else's shoes. Can I offer a suggestion? If you've got an idea of something that's been on your mind, then you get to share it with them as well. And if you were to do this, how might you go about doing it? It is very nuanced in the questions that you ask that remove the responsibility from you owning it to asking questions that they start getting excited about. And I know how much all of you understand the power of coaching, because being told what to do feels very different than if we come up with the idea ourselves. And so the same is true with applying the Grow coaching model. Okay. As a way forward, what do you see as your next step? How will you go about it? What might get in the way? How might you overcome that? And what additional support can I provide to you? So this is the accountability piece. These are the questions that are going to help move things forward, understand who's doing what, how to execute. And suddenly you're not adding all of these things to your to-do list. You're helping empower other people, and you're coming up with solutions that make sense for them. So here is a little bit of homework that I invite you to do to check in on yourself. The first piece is practice active listening. And this was one of the hardest things that I really wrapped my head around going through my coaching program, because when I did the coaching program, I thought, yeah, I'm a great listener. I know how to do this well. And suddenly I was recognizing when I felt like I really needed to jump into a conversation, or when I needed to say the thing that was important to me versus listen to what that other person was saying. When I was distracted because I had 10 other screens around me, and so I wasn't present with the person in front of me. And I noticed when I was relying on all of these other pieces, when all they needed was for me to really listen to what they were saying. So look at opportunities for you to practice active listening, get really present with the people that you're having conversations with, and proactively train your nervous system through breath work, through breaks, through slowing down, and create some structure or some boundaries around what this can look like for you. One of my favorite exercises to do is around journaling. And journaling is great for awareness. It's great for seeing the things that you're noticing during the day and putting some attention to it. So keep those journals handy when you're starting to notice, oh, I can feel my nervous system, or I can feel when I'm getting stressed, or I can feel when I feel like jumping into the conversation. And ask them 3 questions instead of jumping in with your advice. So the last one on here around pay attention to the advice you give and get. Notice how you are driven to come up with a solution. Notice how you hurry to resolve issues for others, and begin to notice when you're about to give advice and instead ask 3 questions first. And these are the practices that I know will shift things in how you show up, how you have conversations, how you train the business on how they work for you and work with you. And it will take a lot of the pressure of having to feel like you need to get 1,000 things done in a day, and really make the work that you're doing intentional on the right pieces. Okay. So I want to spend the next few minutes really digging in and sharing with you a little bit more about my group coaching program. This I am super stoked to talk to you about. So let me just move this screen over. Okay. Um, so I created a group coaching program for women in HR that begins this April. I am opening the door to a new offer, and the program's called Women in HR Influence Up. It is a brand new 6-month group coaching experience. And it's for women who are tired of feeling exhausted, putting out fires, not feeling like yourself, wanting to add more value, wanting to have more influence. And this level of support I have never offered until this point. It's only been available to private clients that I've worked with and one-on-one conversations. So I am now offering this as a group coaching program with a ton of support, and it is open to all industries. So whether you're in construction, in tech, in insurance, in retail, this is the community where exciting things happen. And let me break it down for you. I am going to break it down for you. We are kicking off on Wednesday, April the 22nd. It is 6 90-minute sessions, and this is the most proximity that you'll ever get in a program like this at this price point. I promise you. We are going to meet once a month for 90 minutes, and I'm going to be teaching you every single part of my leadership method that I have done over the years, leading and coaching high achieving leaders and personally practicing it for myself. Because this is a beta offer, this is the first time that I've done it. I am offering it at a complete no-brainer price of $3,000. And not only that is there is a really good likeliness that your organization is going to cover a lot of the cost through your professional development budget. So worth taking a look at that as well. But this is a very limited group. It is intentionally done for a smaller cohort because I want you to have the most support throughout this experience. And so if you're finding that you are transactional, that you're second guessing the value that you're giving, if you're wondering if you would like why you are the person that's solving all of the problems, and you want to be better at making decisions and moving things forward and having a bigger influence, this is the program combined with the community support that I wish I had when I was earlier on in my career. So the topics that we are diving into are all about leading self around values, purpose, creating a North Star for yourself, what that looks like. We are diving into emotional intelligence. You are going to complete an assessment that evaluates where are you in relation to your EQI. And we're going to weave that in to powerful homework examples that are going to help you apply a lot of these concepts so that you can feel equipped with navigating change, building resiliency, and coaching your leaders so that you have the impact that you want to have while feeling like yourself. So I want to share this with you because today I have a very special offer. I am not doing this with anyone else, but for you and this particular group, up until tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I am offering $500 off the course. So you get this entire 6-month experience for $2,500 Canadian. And if you sign up within the next 24 hours, so by 2 o'clock tomorrow, then you get it at that price tag. So if you're thinking, actually, I have some more questions or I want to learn a little bit more about this and you want to book a call with me, then Kaylee's going to drop the link for booking a call and I'm happy to jump on a quick conversation with you to better understand what is it that you're working on and how can this program support you. So if you are someone who leads a team of HR professionals, if you have a peer, if you yourself are looking for something to have more influence, send this program or the information their way. I would love to have a conversation with you or them. I'm telling you, doors officially close on April 17th, and we kick off a few days later. So I'd love to open it up for questions about content that you heard today, anything that resonated with you. And specifically, if you've got questions about the program that I'm offering. Okay, we got a thumbs up from Vineet. You feel complete. Come on, there have to be some questions in there.
Maybe not a question, but a comment on the piece that you said, what resonates with you.
Yeah.
So something that resonated with me was the piece around ask 3 questions before you jump in with the advice. I love this. I love this both in a personal and like parenting perspective and also corporate perspective. To your point, we always jump in to feel like we have to have the solution or the way forward. And I think you're right. It's a component about showing our value add and our worth is a component too. Showing we have a spot at the table, but taking that time to ask those questions, get to the root cause, and to your point, you often find a lot more critical information and build that relationship and influence even that much stronger when you have that dialogue. So I really love that.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, that is such a powerful exercise to do as a parent and as someone in HR working with leaders, asking that question and definitely challenging yourself because the natural instinct is to go, let's just solve the problem and move forward. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
great.
hard. It'll be hard to do that shift, but I think it's a great call out. Thanks for sharing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, anytime. I ended up like I do use this as a parenting tool with my kids. Like I assume that I need to keep telling my 7-year-old son that he needs to go and brush his teeth and get ready for bed before reading a story. And the other day I said, "Oh, I think there's a few other things that need to get done today. What do you think those are?" He's like, "I need to brush my teeth and I need to get my jammies on." And I'm like, so wait, you know all the things that you need to do. You're just not doing them. Got it. But it's a great way to just stop taking the load of having to remember all of the things and own all of it and help shift that responsibility over to others.
Natasha, can I say a few things?
Yeah, of course.
So thank you so much for putting this on. I really love the grow model. I like to think that I'm doing those things, but as you were talking through it, I don't think like we all, like you said, we all get sort of just bogged down with so many things that I don't think I'm really doing that anymore. And you had a point about active listening. And I'm the same. People used to tell me I'm a great listener. So in my mind, I'm a great listener, but I don't think I'm so much a great listener anymore. I'm not always so present and I'm quick to jump in with my solutions and I just want to sort of wrap up the meeting. I want to help, but I want to wrap up because I have to move on to like 50 other things. So I think that's a really, really valid point. And I'm sort of motivated to learn more. So I have a few questions about your program.
Yeah.
And I might have missed this, sorry, I was a little bit in and out, but 2 questions. One, how big is the group?
It is a small cohort. Maximum, it'll be 20 in the group. So maybe smaller than that. We'll see. But that's
Okay.
that's the number we're working
That's
with.
great.
Yeah.
And then the live coaching calls, are they one-on-one or are they group sessions? And are they during the day or in the evening?
Yeah, great question. So they are group coaching calls for 90 minutes once a month, and they are from 11 to 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then if you want to have more private one-on-one coaching, then that's something that you can add on to the package, and I'd be happy to support you there too.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Any other questions?
Natasha, I don't have questions, but I'd love to just share a couple things if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, hi everyone. So, I'm a leadership consultant and coach and facilitator, and I've had the honor of working with Natasha in the past. And I came here to be able to support this because I often will say that, you know, if I had $1 for every time when I was working with a leader, especially a leader within the areas of what we call functional teams and organizations, or the support centers, which is HR, IT, finance, whereby there's always been this problem or this issue around how do I get a seat at that table? How do I influence? You know, we're never included at that strategic table, and you know, what's getting in my way. And so again, I hear this so often. And so when Natasha told me that she was creating this container and this program, I was like, sign me up, because I want to come in first and I want to see what you're doing. And I'm always here to support Natasha, but also women just in leadership and in business as a whole. But this specifically, I think, is such a needed area of focus, because you're not alone. And I know that everyone has felt this. I come from a corporate background in learning and development and talent management, so HR. And so I see this often, and I see this in the business. And so I think the opportunity to come in and start to learn and partner with each other and share with each other and have Natasha help to guide this is going to be a game changer for you in your career, especially if you are wanting to level up and learn how to influence and get that voice and that seat, and really be seen as that strategic business partner. So I applaud you, Natasha. I got you. I will support you in any way. This is so needed, so long overdue, and I love it. Super excited.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And Wendy is not alone. I have had so many conversations with leaders just like Wendy about how this program came to be and what the intention is behind it. And all of them were like, oh my gosh, why didn't we have this already? How can we get our people into this? This is an amazing opportunity. So there is definitely appetite. The women who are already in this program, already enrolled, their organizations fully support them. They've invested and they've gone through their professional development to get that budget as well. So it is worth exploring, because this is really going to transform how you lead and how you set yourself as an HR professional down the road. Okay. Any other questions? I want to make sure that everyone had a chance to ask if you had something that you wanted to say.
Natasha, will you be sending anything out afterwards with more information and stuff like that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can expect an email in your inbox with the link, with a little bit of a summary on what the special promotion is. I will also have the recording if you want to revisit this as well, that will be available for the next 48 hours too. Okay, so thank you for spending the time, for investing in today, for looking at these opportunities as something that you may be more curious about or want to learn more about. And thank you for making the time. I don't take it lightly that all of you have invested an hour of your time to be here together, and all of your time is very important. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up for yourself. And I can't wait to reconnect with you and talk to you more about this. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Natasha. Great session. Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.